What's up YouTube? It's your boy Jeffy, back with another video, and today I'll be talking about how to live a life free of the draining and distracting media news cycle. Before we get into it, if you're new to this channel, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss on the next videos. The topic of today, we'll be talking about how turning off media can be beneficial to our lives. We'll be covering 6 points which shows how canceling or turning off, breaking with watching news from social media, from TV channels can benefit our lives. The first part of the video will be covering how watching the news on a regular basis affects our health and affects our ability to think more clearly. And the second part of the video will be the benefits of turning off the news and engaging more with our own lives and improving the condition of our lives. So let's get into it. The first part and the first point is reading news. The first part is reading news rewires your brain. And it rewires your brain actually to perform on a lower capability, because when you watch the news, because most of the news is negative, it triggers the survival instinct in you. And survival instinct in you is really using the lowest effort to survive. That's what it is. So the news, when you watch the news, you actually get into that mental state where you don't want to think about anything else. You just want to think about survival. And the more news you watch, the more survival situations your subconscious will imagine. The subconscious or your mind will think about the ways to survive in those situations. In case of a terrorist attack, in case of earthquake, in case of a nuclear explosion, what would you do to survive? Because that's the type of things you see on the media. So your mind is always paying attention to how it can survive in those situations. So it leaves you no room to think about the normal life, hanging out with your friends, talking about financial literacy, practicing a hobby like playing guitar, playing a sport, soccer, basketball. You don't have time for these things because you are preoccupied by news triggers. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the first point now that I'm covering is to explain what watching the news does for you. That's for your brain. That's your brain. Your brain is in a different state. You are not living. You are surviving. The second point is that when you subject yourself to watching the news, you are training your mind to pay attention to garbage content, to content that is down. It's like there is no real life value to the content you're watching. So your brain becomes kind of lazy. That's why when you think about technology, think about learning a new skill, you find it very, very difficult to learn something new because you have been training your brain to only pay attention to content which is superficial. So the second point of this video is really to highlight the impact it has on your ability, on your resilience, on the brain's capacity the capacity is there, but it is not being used. It is being pushed down. It is being pushed down, and the brain only pays attention to the type of content that is that triggers survival instincts. So you don't use your critical brain. You don't use the rational brain. You use your emotional brain. Okay, the limbic brain. Okay, you're not using your cortex. You're using the limbic brain, the animal brain, which is like survival mode. Food, shelter, and safety. The third point is news consumption is a vicious cycle, which is very hard to get out of. You can be addicted to the news, to the social media. You scroll up, you scroll down, you scroll up, you scroll down. You can't help yourself but just scroll. Scroll up, scroll up. You want to see what is on social media, what is on the page, what everybody's saying, and you're not paying attention to your own life. You're watching the news every single night after work. You became a couch potato. You're not healthy. You're not exercising. You just eat chips, drink beer, and watch the news. You became a couch potato. You're not taking care of your body, because we have been conditioned by the news to pay attention to the negative headlines. You've been addicted. You have been hooked. So it's a very vicious cycle to get out of, and you have to realize, you have to be conscious of that, and see how you live your life. Are you healthy? Are you stressed? Because the stress comes from this, this huge amounts of negative headlines. They raise your stress level. You pump your adrenaline in your bloodstream. The adrenaline kicks in the cortisol, and the cortisol makes you stressed. The cortisol is not good for your immune system. That's why we need to address all these kind of issues that all these kind of behaviors that you can fix to make our lives better. Okay, so that was the first part. The first part was to explain, in a nutshell, how watching the news can affect negatively the condition of our lives, the quality of our lives. Stress, addiction, and reducing the ability to use the capacity of our brain to its fullest potential. So the second part of the video, we'll be talking about how we can fix that situation and the benefits of doing that, and how we can replace the time we were spending watching the news or scrolling through social media. How can we use the time better? How can we make the use of time more efficient? So the second part of the video, we start with point 4, which is the point 4 is how can we eliminate watching the news. So the how we can eliminate watching the news is start by a conscious decision to just cancel all social media, news, all TV news channels, by practicing radical abstinence. Decide, make a conscious decision, deliberate conscious decision to just stop watching the news. If you have these channels, CNN, ABC, Fox News, MSNBC, just cut the cable. Like, just call the cable provider, tell them, look, remove these channels. I don't need it anymore. If you have your Facebook is filled with negative news headlines, just I'll subscribe to all these news channels. I'll subscribe to all these news channels on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Reddit, on Instagram. All the channels that triggers the limbic system. instead of triggering the cortex, the neocortex, because that's what you need. You need the neocortex. Use all your abilities to think and to improve your life for the better. So that's point 4 is to just to cancel the news, cancel the bad news from your life, just to remove them, remove every single channel that talks about negative highlights. And point 5 is the benefits of removing the bad news from your life, the toxic news from your life. The benefits are huge. The first benefit is the ability to feel calm, ability to just be calm, to just be grounded, to feel good. You're not stressed. There's no stress, because you are in control of your own mind. You don't have all these headlines, negative headlines, affecting your mood, affecting your emotional stability. You are calm, cool, and grounded. The second benefit is the ability to think more clearly. Now you can think clearly because there's no bias which comes from these headlines. You can think clearly because there's no one influencing your mind except you. You can make critical analysis. You can reason on your own. You don't need the CNN to tell you what happened with the Democrats. You don't need Fox News to tell you what happened with the Republicans. You don't need this journalists to tell you what they believe should be done in life. Because you are your own person. You are a human being with a mind, with a critical mind, and you can come with your own deductions about certain subject matter. We have to we have to get out of the herd mentality created by the news media. And the way to do it is to cut off the exposure to the content from news media and be able to think critically on our own, because that's what matters. We have unique minds. We cannot think like the rest of the people, and the rest of the people, they don't have to think like us. We have to be unique and different and independent. So that's why it is very important to have the ability to think clearly without being influenced with bias, with this whole bunch of biases. This confirmation bias. There's ad hominem biases. There's fallacy. There's a whole bunch of biases, psychological bias that comes from listening to the other people over a long period of time. And we can neglect the risk is to neglect our own opinion, and it affects a whole bunch of people. They can't speak out because they believe that their opinion is maybe won't be accepted by the majority. But who say that? No one say that. Just because a news outlet is advancing a certain agenda, and there's probably some lobbyists who are pumping money into this news media to push a certain agenda. So we have to really open our eyes and see what's going on, and just be about our own first. We cannot accept the agenda of others without making sure that we are happy, that we are being truthful to ourselves. Politicians will play on emotional fears to be able to influence people to vote in a certain way. But we have to make sure that we see the games, we see what's going on, and not go into these games, because our lives comes before any politician. That's right. We have to live our lives to the fullest. Be responsible citizens, but live our lives. Be happy. We cannot buy into the fear, the hysteria created by politicians. Okay. Okay. And the third benefit is to engage. The third benefit of cutting off news outlets is that you end up engaging with the world on a deeper level. You appreciate the world more because you are in touch with nature. You are in touch with yourself more. You understand life better because no one is clouding your judgment. It's gonna take time. Once you cut off the news, give yourself time to reconnect with yourself, to reconnect with the natural way of life, and you will find it very beneficial because you will be able to engage with the world on a more deeper level. You will engage with others on a more deeper level. You won't be influenced by the herd mentality, and you'll be able to engage with the world, on a deeper level. Relationships will become more meaningful, and you will understand natural way of life, natural environment a little bit better. And so the benefits is the ability to feel calm, cool, and collected. The ability to feel cool, calm, and collected. The ability to think more clearly, and the capacity to engage with the world on a deeper level. And once you are able to cut off the news completely, you will have a lot of free time in your life, in your schedule. And the way you can fill that free time is by participating in hobbies, like engage in hobbies. Spend time doing what you like to do. Something that makes you feel good. Whether it is like walking in a park, go hiking, riding a bicycle, jogging, workout, cutting the weight down, because couch potatoes, people who spend too much time on the couch watching TVs, they tend to get weight. So if you wanna get back in shape, make sure you see how you can get back in shape by reducing sugar, or reducing the fast food, chips, and all the unnecessary sodas, and get back in the gym, and get back to being active, get back to creating meaningful social relationships. And if you are someone who is career oriented, this will be a great time for you to actually pick a course that will help you to advance in your career. So you see what I'm saying? So there is a whole many benefits in going back to the source, going back to connecting with our inner self. Our inner self is there. The potential to be the best version we can be is there. But when we are being influenced by external hysteria or external opinions, we cannot be ourselves to the fullest. That's why we have to control and to gatekeep what comes in our minds and what we